Hello, Julie Lewin here, and oops, yep, put your ears in, Julie. Okay, so hopefully we'll start again. Julie Lewin here, and I'm once again over at my mum's house. We're doing YouTube live, and I got here, and she had given me a key to her house, but it was the main door key, not the screen door key, so I couldn't get in. So I thought I'd improvise and I would sit outside because I can still use the NBN, and I have my phone sitting on top of a little watering can, and I've got my laptop just here, and thankfully it is all charged up, so I didn't need to have power. Okay, so let me see here. Now I wonder how I get my YouTube live. On my channel. Okay, there we go. It says we're live now. So you can start putting in your comments. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we're all set up. If you have any questions, please type them in the little chat box there or the comment box, and I will see if I can help you. Now, why am I talking about copper imbalance? A few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, my daughter sent me a link and she said, "Mum, I think you really need to look at this article," and it's by Dr. Wilson. Dr. Lawrence Wilson is his name. So I clicked on the link and I read the article and I thought, oh my goodness, I really did want to read that article. And it's a lot of people are suffering from symptoms that don't kind of give a really good picture of what's going on for them. And as I read the article, I thought that sounds like I'm reading about my family. So a little bit of background is I grew up in a town called Mount Isa, and for those of you who don't live in Australia, it's the biggest copper mining town in Australia. And one of my jobs that I had in Mount Isa was in the research department, and our office was right next to the copper smelter. And I worked there for a couple of years, but I lived in the town for 13 years. Now, just because I lived in a copper town doesn't mean that everyone who lives there gets a copper imbalance. But I know from symptoms that I've experienced in my life that I definitely have had a copper imbalance at some stage. Now, what's really interesting is that copper imbalance can actually be a factor in ADD and ADHD. And our second child, Tristan, was born in 1986, and I wanted to have the same doctor that we had for our first child. So I said to my husband on the Saturday, "Do you want to have another baby?" And he said, "Oh yeah, okay." So that was our discussion. Not a lot of discussion was going on about increasing our family. So, and I know this is maybe a little personal, but I'm going to share it with you. Back in the 1980s, one of the forms of contraception was something called a copper IUD. So it was a device that was put into the womb, into the cervix or into the womb. I had one of those. I had it out on the Monday, and I must have got pregnant on the Tuesday or Wednesday. So there would have been still a high copper content in my womb. And we had a lot of challenges with Tristan. and he was diagnosed as ADD, but we decided not to medicate him. We went the natural route with minerals and vitamins, and he is going along very well now. When he was 2, we had him at a naturopath, and the naturopath did a hair analysis. And I didn't know what's in this article by Dr. Wilson back then. I was a young mum. I was only about 28, and we didn't have the internet, and people didn't talk about this sort of stuff. And so the hair analysis came back, and it said that his copper content was off the scale and his zinc content was very low. So we had to supplement him with zinc. For many, many years he was on zinc supplement. Now, I don't know whether the naturopath that we were seeing understood what Dr. Wilson has discovered, but certainly something was amiss with Tristan's brain chemistry. And now that I know about the copper imbalance, it all makes sense. So I'm not here to tell you that I'm an expert on copper. I certainly am not. But what I wanted to do is just have a little chat with you and say, go on over to my blog post, which is julielewin.com/blog, and have a read of the copper articles that we're putting there. And we've also noted Dr. Wilson's article, so you can read the whole article. The original article may be quite complex for you to understand, so what we're trying to do in our blog posts is break it down and make it more simple for you to understand. So that was what I wanted to share with you today. If you have symptoms that no one seems to be able to help you with, go and read the article. If you feel that you may have a copper imbalance, I have a client here and a colleague in Australia who has worked with over 500 people in balancing their copper. So I do have some resources for you so that you can get this addressed. One of the other things that can happen from a copper imbalance is definitely with brain chemistry imbalance and depression and not feeling that you can cope. So I highly recommend that you have a look at the article and let me know what you think. So even though you're not on the call today, you can still comment down below under the video and I will respond. So I think we've done our second YouTube live, and I want to thank you for having a listen if you've come along and had a listen, and I hope that you'll come and join me in the future as I share with you just tips that come up, and I never know what I'm going to talk about, but I'm looking forward to sharing whatever comes up with you. So sounds like my mum has just come home, and I'm going to close off for now and go and have a cup of tea with her, and I shall see you tomorrow. See you.